'Tis not what I expected. I had hoped for a collection of her spells, a map of the power that she commands, but this is not it. Disturbed? Yes, perhaps that is the right word. One thing in particular within her writings disturbs me. Here, in great detail, Flemeth explains the means by which she has survived for centuries. Oh, if only 'twere so. Flemeth has raised many daughters over her long lifetime. There are stories of these many witches of the wilds throughout chastened legend, yet I have never seen a one, and always wondered why not. And now I know. They are all Flemeth. When her body becomes old and wizened, she raises a daughter, and when the time is right, she takes her daughter's body for her own. Do not be sorry. I am not. I am angry. There is only one possible response to this. Flemeth needs to die. I will not sit about like an empty sack waiting to be filled. Flemeth must be slain, and I need your help to do it. Then what needs to be done is for you to go back to Flemeth's hut in the Kakari Wilds without me. If I am present when she is slain, I cannot be certain that she will not be able to possess my body right then, so I must remain at the camp. Confront her and slay her quickly. I doubt she will truly be dead even then, but it will take her years to find a new host and recover her power, if that is even possible. The thing I must have is her true grimoire. With it, I can defend against her power in the future. Everything else in her hut is yours. Not really, but the sooner the better, no? I am grateful. The sooner this can be done, the sooner it will set my mind at ease.
You and your friends are formidable folk, indeed. It's good to have you along on the road. I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your...
Yes.
Yes.
And so you return. Lovely Morrigan has at last found someone willing to dance to her tune. Such enchanting music she plays, wouldn't you say? Why dance at all? Why not sing? What has Morrigan told you? What little plan has she hatched this time? How true. So says the shoe to the foot and the foot to the leg. We move as one, whether we like it or not. But if I am to guess, I would say Morrigan has discovered something. Something shocking that requires her defense. Yes? Ah, but it is an old, old story. One that Flemeth has heard before, and even told. Let us skip right to the ending, shall we? Do you slay the old wretch as Morrigan bids, or does the tale take a different turn? Choice. There is power in choices, as there is in lies. I shall give you one of each. Morrigan wishes my grimoire? Take it as a trophy. Tell her I am slain. I go. Perhaps I surprise Morrigan one day. Or I may simply watch. It would be interesting to see what she does with her freedom. Enlightening, even. Would you give an old woman that? You get to keep her for a time. We believe what we want to believe. It's all we ever do. Shame. What will it be then? It is a dance poor Flemeth knows well. Let us see if she remembers the steps. Come. She will earn what she takes. I'd have it no other way.
Something on your mind?
I'm unable to do that. Got it. Ready. That wasn't so. Finished.
I have something for you. I mean that I have a gift for you. 'Tis a ring. Now before you get any foolish notions, let me explain. Flemeth once gave me the ring because it allowed her to find me no matter where I went, in case I was ever captured by hunters. I disabled its power as soon as we left the wilds. Recently, however, I thought to change it. Now, I will be able to find whoever wears it instead. It is not given out of sentimentality. I believe you were too important to risk. If you were captured, this ring would allow the rest of us to find you quickly. You are welcome. Perhaps it will be useful someday. Mother's real grimoire, is it? I am glad you were able to find it after all. My thanks for retrieving it. I shall begin studying it immediately and unlock the power that it holds.
Have you encountered many abominations, apart from the ones in the Circle Tower? The first time I saw an abomination, my blood turned to ice. It was months before the nightmares stopped. It was the knowledge that I could easily become one of them that frightened me the most. One slip. All it takes is one slip, and everything you are is simply gone. Replaced by madness. And there is no turning back, or at least that's what they say. Of late, I have begun to wonder if there is any way an abomination can be cured. Or if a mage could be so possessed and still retain their sanity, their humanity. Yes, it is madness and cruelty that define abominations. If those are lacking, if the mage remembers the person they truly are, then they are not an abomination. I never saw that. Thank you for showing me another way of looking at it.
You are wise to invest in the effectiveness of your following.
Something I can help with? Yes? What's on your mind? My mother was from Denerim, and I consider myself a Ferelden. Mother served an Orlesian noblewoman who lived here when Orlais ruled. When Orlais was defeated and the common folk began to resent the presence of any Orlesian, the lady returned to Orlais. She took my mother with her. I was born in Orlais and did not set foot in Ferelden till much later. Mother was always telling me stories of her homeland. I think she missed it. Mother died when I was very young. Lady Cecily let me stay with her. I had no one else. She was quite old then, and she had me study music and dance to entertain her. It is unfair that I have more memories of Cecily than my mother. Strangely, the only thing I really remember of Mother was her scent. She kept dried flowers in her closet amongst her clothes. Small white Ferelden wildflowers with a sweet fragrance. Mother called them Andrastis Grace. They were very rare in Orlais. But enough about that. Let us move on. Something I can help with? Yes? What's on your mind? I miss Val-Royeaux. Unlike other cities where the people are the lifeblood and the character, Val-Royeaux was her own person, and her people little more than decorations. There was always music in Val-Royeaux, streaming from the many windows, quiet refrains and triumphant choruses, and always, floating above that all, the chant, coming from the grand cathedral. It was magnificent. Oh, it would take me a day or two to talk about the many splendors of Orlais, her golden fields, her lush meadows. Of course, there are good things and bad things about Orlais, like anywhere else. Sometimes I miss it dearly, and sometimes I'm glad I'm rid of it. And you will laugh at this, but I miss the fine things I had in Orlais. Dresses, fine dresses and furs, and shoes, of course. One can't mingle with nobility with bad shoes, you see. Orlais is very fashionable, almost ridiculously so. But the shoes, living with those ridiculous trends was worth it for the shoes. When I left Orlais, the fashion was shoes with delicate tapered heels and embellishments in the front. A ribbon, perhaps, or embroidery. In soft colors, of course. It was spring. I wouldn't want to run in it, or have to enter battle, but for lounging in a lady's sitting room, perfect. The shoes made in Orlais were exquisite. Not at all like these clunky fur-lined leather boots you have in Ferelden. Ugh, just look at them. They're sturdy shoes, but sometimes a girl just wants to have pretty feet. Oh, I could talk about shoes all day, but we have things to do, don't we?
Yes. Sitting, as you observed. It's what you asked. Warden, if I truly disliked you, I would leave. That I am still here, you may interpret however you choose. I did. Parshera, was there anything else? Speak, then. Then I suggest we move on. I am hardly surprised. To answer a question. The Arishok asked what is the Blight. By his curiosity, I am now here. The one who commands the Antam, the body of the Kunari. A portion of it? Yes. Never. I cannot go home. Thank you. Can we move on? We keep the Darkspawn waiting. As you wish.
Yes.
Yes.
Darkspawn brothers, watch for their blood! Let's get started. This ship is enough. On it. Right. Let's get started. Right.
well. For a moment there, I thought I thought it was all over. I will explain everything when we are back at camp. Now is not the time.
I have a question it may be able to answer, Elder Mage.
Must it always be Elder Mage? I'm not a wizened old crone just yet.
Would it prefer Mage well past her prime don't mind the sagging bits?
You have an odd way of requesting answers to your questions.
I'm curious about the abominations of the tower. Is it possible for such a creature to become human again?
Yes, it is simply very difficult. It requires travel into the Fade.
And is the mage the same afterwards as the mage was before?
No, I have never met such a person, but no, they are changed forever.
I understand. Thank you for the answer, wise one.
I think I owe you an explanation for what happened earlier. You should know that something happened to me at the tower before you came along. Remember my apprentice, Petra? She encountered a demon in the tower. It would have killed her had I not intervened. I saved her life that day, but I did not survive that encounter with the demon. No, I'm not undead. If I were a possessed walking corpse and could still think, I'd kill myself. I engaged a very powerful demon to rescue Petra. It sapped me of all my energy and will and left me drained. It took everything I had to defeat it. And when I was done, I no longer had the strength to keep my heart beating. I remember my life ebbing away. Everything receded from me. Sound, light. I remember being enveloped in complete, impenetrable darkness. And then I sensed a presence enfolding me and cradling me, whispering quietly to me. The sensation is impossible to describe. I was being held back firmly but gently, as a mother would a child eager to slip from her grasp. I felt life and warmth flowing through my veins again. I began to be aware of small sounds and the discomfort of my hip pressing into the cold stone of the tower floor. The Fade contains spirits both benevolent and malicious. The benevolent spirits seldom make themselves known because they want nothing from mortals, unlike the demons. It was one of these spirits that saved me. Without it, I would be dead. And it has not left me. It is with me even now, bonded to me. You see, I am supposed to be dead. It is the spirit that is keeping me in this world. And this is not the way of things. Perhaps the spirit did not expect this, but it is weakening gradually. I am living on borrowed time. I do not know. I can feel when the spirit weakens, so I should have fair warning. But come, let us not talk about this. There is time yet.
I wish to ask a question of you. I wish to know your opinion of love. You and I have been intimate, for one. We have been close for some time now. You are impressive in many ways, and you even protected me from Flemeth without hope of reward. I feel anxious when I look upon you. I dislike this sense of dependency. 'Tis a weakness I abhor. If this is love, I wish to ascertain that you do not feel the same. Then we are both fools, and we need to do something immediately. I have allowed myself to become too close. This is a weakness for us both. You are not listening to me. Do not be such a fool. This is for your own good. I am not like other women. I am not worth your distraction, and you are not worth mine. You are impossible. Have it your way, but I will tell you truly now. You will regret it in the end. Your desire? We are in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any. What's this? 'Tis a rather odd discussion you seem to desire, leaning in so closely. Oh, it's humor you desire, hmm? I didn't realize comedy had anything to do with this. How true. Let us do it right, then.
Different? Different than what? Different than a statue? Different than a log? Should I talk in a monotone? Yes, Master, I exist to serve the Master. I shall kill for the Master and only for the Master. Perhaps it expected me to have a booming voice. Recite limericks. I can recite limericks, if it likes. Mostly, they involve slaughtering pigeons in creative and invasive manners. I have never met another golem. I have no idea what one might be like, or why I wouldn't be like them. Why? Has it met other golems? Did they not sound as I do? Did I say it was bad? It thinks I hang on its every word, waiting for approval. I don't know what other golems might be like, but I am already superior by virtue of my free will. This is a good thing. So is being drawn and quartered. Maybe I'm not the only one with a smart mouth, Now stop talking so much. The wagging of its moist little tongue is distracting.
Here I am. Oh, this should be good. What would you like to discuss?
Something I can help with? Yes? What's on your mind? Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think. Chantry law says it is man's pride that created the Darkspawn. In ages past, the mages of the Tevinder Imperium ruled much of the world we know. In their pride, they thought their magics invincible and imagined that they were greater than the Maker himself. So thinking, they invaded his golden city, planning to take it for themselves and depose their own creator. But they were impure and full of sin. And it is with the sin that they tainted the golden city, corrupting it forever. The Maker cursed them and cast them from his sight. Wherever they went, they spread the taint of their sin. Any land that was touched by the taint became blighted and would suffer no life. Instead, the Darkspawn arose to torment us and remind us of our hubris. Which one? I have heard a little about how the elves gained their freedom from the Tevinder Imperium. When Andraste began her exalted march against the Imperium, the elves joined her cause to fight their masters. The great elven leader, Shatan, born in captivity, rose up to lead his people. He foresaw a future where the elves were free. Shatan was killed when Andraste was betrayed, but the elves continued to fight, eventually breaking free of the Imperium. The elves claimed the Dales in the south and settled there in a land of their own. The elves lived in the Dales for centuries. They resurrected the worship of the elven gods and would allow the building of no chantry. This angered the Chantry, and the hostility between the two factions finally broke out in open war. The Chantry says the elves struck first, but I do not know whether to believe it. The Chantry declared a holy exalted march against the elves, named for Andraste's similar march against Tevinter. During the exalted march of the Dales, the elven cities were sacked, and the elven state completely dissolved. Some of the elves bitterly accepted their fates and surrendered to human rule, living in the human cities as second-class citizens. But others, still fiercely proud of their heritage, refused to bow to the humans, and instead became homeless wanderers. They were the elves of the Dales, the Dalish. Andraste was the Maker's chosen. The Maker had long since abandoned the world when the sound of her singing turned his ear. Beauty, grace, and wisdom enraptured him, and he offered to take her from this flawed world to become his divine bride. But Andraste had an earthly husband and would not forsake him. Instead, she beseeched the Maker to return to his people once more. So earnest was her plea that the Maker was moved and promised that he would create a paradise on earth if all abandoned their false gods and turned once more to him. And this is why Andraste began her exalted march on the idolaters of the Tevinder Imperium. The Maker granted her his powers with which to smite her enemies. Andraste brought the Imperium to its knees, and her victories converted many to the worship of the Maker. Alas, it was the frailties of men that betrayed and killed Andraste. Her earthly husband, Maferath, a chieftain of the Alamari tribes himself, grew jealous as his wife's popularity and influence overshadowed his own. She was also revered as the Maker's betrothed, and Mafarath began to see their own bond waning in significance as Andraste became ever more devoted to the Maker. Out of envy and spite, Mafarath made a pact with the Archon Hysarian of Tevinter, allowing his beloved Andraste to be ambushed and captured. Andraste was burned at the stake in Minrathous, the capital of Tevinter. The Tevinter Chantry claims that in Andraste's last moments, Hysarian's heart softened, and he heard the voice of the Maker telling him to end her suffering. He plunged his sword into her heart, and as her blood washed over his hands, he became one of the faithful. Dissenters said that the Archon only converted because he could not stem the tide of Andraste's cult, and was forced to do so to stay in power. We will never know for sure.
Yes.
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 Destroy the fiend! Darkspawn, destroy the need! Fear is your weakness!
This should be easy enough.
That was interesting and draining. I didn't know I could either. I called forth the spirit that sustains me so that it could lend us aid. I did not realize it would take this much out of me. It seemed a good idea at the time, if a little rash. I think it may have weakened the spirit a little. Well, that's certainly conceivable. I suppose I shouldn't be using that particular trick to entertain children at parties. I promise I'll be careful. And thank you. Your concern is touching. So, tell me, how did you become a Grey Warden? You survived the deep roads and the darkspawn that dwell there? Truly, you were born to be a Grey Warden. No, not nothing. You are a Grey Warden, one of the last of the Ferelden Wardens. We depend on you now. Take heart, dear friend. You survived, even when you were not expected to. We do not know yet what lies in store for you, or the name you carry. It is not so bad, is it, being a Grey Warden? Sometimes it gives me comfort to think that everything will end up the way it's supposed to. That it will be all right. You were chosen. You survived the joining when others did not. Perhaps it was meant to be. I must ask, what does being a Grey Warden mean to you? There's that, of course. But there's more to being a Grey Warden than killing Darkspawn and saving the world from the Blight. Ultimately, being a Grey Warden is about serving others. About serving all people, whether elves or dwarves or men. As a Grey Warden, you are a guardian of men, and you guard them because their continued existence is more important than you are. Thus it is you who serves, not they. A good king, a true king who cares for his land, uses his power to rule firmly but fairly. He serves his people first and foremost. The king who does not do this, who believes that he is entitled to his power, who abuses it and uses it for his own means, is a tyrant. And the country suffers for it. If you live apart from others, and your actions affect only you, then you may do as you wish. But if you have power, influence, and strength, your every action will be as a drop of water in a clear, still pond. The drop causes ripples, and ripples spread. Think of how far they will go, how wide they will become, how will they affect the pond. But I've lectured enough for today. I should stop before I wear out my welcome. You're quite taken with each other, aren't you? Well, she's hardly discreet. The way she looks at you, it's as though she's completely forgotten there's anything of you above the waist. I've noticed your blossoming relationship, and I wanted to ask you where you thought it was going. She is a cunning woman, a Maleficar. She will use you for her own ends. That is some consolation, at least. Just remember to be wary. You are a Grey Warden. You have responsibilities which supersede your personal desires. Love is ultimately selfish. It demands that one be devoted to a single person who may fully occupy one's mind and heart to the exclusion of all else. A Grey Warden cannot afford to be selfish. You may be forced to make a choice between saving your love and saving everyone else. And then what would you do? Nothing is certain. Not in these times. You cannot take anything for granted. I want you to be aware of this. I am just trying to minimize the suffering that may come to either of you. I have given my advice. Do with it what you will. What's on your mind? I have always had an affinity for the spirits of the Fade. As a child, I never feared my dreams because I knew they were there. I could sense the demons, too, and their presence frightened me. It was the kindly spirits of the Fade that took the fear from me. I've always been able to feel the spirits, even if I never saw them. And as I nurtured my talent in the circle, I became more sensitive. I began to notice every time I was in the Fade, whether it was in a dream or in magical practice, that I was being watched. I suppose they must. It is these benevolent spirits that create our dream worlds in the Fade. Sometimes I would see it, a glowing, nebulous form. Most times I would just feel its presence, gentle and comforting, but somehow alien. I think it is a spirit of faith. They have never been seen before, and perhaps I am wrong. But something tells me I'm not. It always felt like the same entity. This one spirit was curious about me, and was guarding me, for want of a better word. There were times when I was in the Fade that it seemed to stretch forth to shield me, keeping me safe. And I think it gave me strength in my most terrible battles, Ostagar being one of them. I don't know why I was chosen. Perhaps it knew that there was something more that lay in store for me. I like to think that I was given a rare chance, and I'm going to make the best of the time so generously given to me. I will not lie motionless in a bed with coverlets up to my chin, waiting for death to claim me. That is not the death for me. And so I will fight alongside the Grey Warden and help prepare him for the task that is yet before him. So you had better listen to me Because I swear, if I should fall before the end and you don't seem to be doing things properly, I'll get up again to give you a good finger-wagging. You know, I think you'll be all right, even without my help. What's on your mind? Cure me? What, am I sick now? Even you know that you cannot cure the dead. And I'm not the only one dying. You are too. I'm just more efficient about it. Ah, child, your concern is heartwarming. But death comes to everyone, and it is not something to fear. People fear not death, but having life taken from them. Many waste the life given to them, occupying themselves with things that do not matter. When the end comes, they say they did not have time enough to spend with loved ones, to fulfill dreams, to go on adventures they only talked about. But why should you fear death if you are happy with the life you have led? If you can look back on everything and say, yes, I am content, it is enough. I think I've led a good life, a full life, and I, for one, am not afraid of death, whatever it may bring. They say that when you die, your spirit travels through the fade and returns to the Maker. And after that, we'll see, won't we? What's on your mind? I try not to dwell too much on the mistakes of my past, of which there are many. I would go quite mad if I did that. But I do have one regret. The greatest misstep of my life, made even more grave because it had dire consequences for someone else. Years ago, I was assigned as mentor to a lad, Anarin. He was my first apprentice. Anarin was an elf, raised in one of the elven alienages, and he was very mistrustful of humans, especially humans in authority. What Anarin needed was time. Time to get used to his new home. Time to emerge from his shell so we could build a rapport. I gave him no such time. I was young and arrogant. He is a mage, I thought. He needs to grow up and act like one. I expected too much from him too quickly. I gave no consideration to his origin or his feelings, and he retreated further from me. All I could think of was how stubborn he was, how he was throwing away all his talent and his potential just to be difficult. Oh, very much so. Sometimes I would catch him practicing on his own, but if I asked him to show me what he could do, he would freeze up or fumble terribly. You cannot plant crops in the cold, wintry ground. You cannot teach a student who is closed off and unresponsive. Patience is what is needed, and I learned that too late to help him. Anarin ran away from the circle one night. I had berated him over some trivial, ridiculous matter that I no longer remember. I drove him away because of something utterly unimportant. He was a child, 14 at the time of his leaving. They had his phylactery, and they hunted him down. The Templars. That is what they do. They hunt down and neutralize rogue mages. They called him Maleficar, a mage who practices forbidden magic, deserving of death. He was a child, misunderstood and lost. I begged the Templars to tell me if he suffered, if they gave him a quick death. I got no answers from them. I was his mentor, and they wouldn't even tell me what became of him. I should have known better. I had the best mentors. They were kind, compassionate. Why didn't I learn from them? I failed in Aaron. All I had to do was listen to him. He would try to talk to me, and I would tell him to concentrate on his spells. He talked about the alienage sometimes, and the Dalish. He always talked about looking for the Dalish elves. The apprentices that came after Anarin benefited greatly from the lessons I learned from him. In a sense, he was my teacher, and I his student. And there it is. My story, my one greatest regret. Yes.
Yes.
Indeed.
Enemies approaching!
Jewish. Right. Jewish. Right. Get started. Right. Off it. Right. Let's get started. Jewish. Right. Get started. Right. Get started. Jewish.
Must it always be?
Let's get started. Jewish. Let's get started. Mission is enough. On it. Right. Let's get started. Mission is enough. On it. Let's get started. Right. Let's get started. On it. Mission is enough.
I think a boulder dropped on me there.
Friends, turn back, please. These woods are a danger to those who do not know the paths.
Nerin?
Wait, I remember your face. But younger, more impulsive, stern. Wynn?
I thought they had killed you.
They very nearly did. The Templars found me while I was searching for the Dalish. They ran me through and left me for dead.
I brought this on you. Oh, I was a dreadful mentor, harsh and impatient. I am sorry for the way I treated you.
I've put that behind me, and you should too. I didn't fit in with the Templars in your chantry. My path lay elsewhere.
Irving is a reasonable man. He will find some way for you to return. The Circle needs new blood. It needs to change.
I have fond memories of Irving. He was always kind to me. I will consider your proposal, and perhaps I will speak with Irving. However, I promise nothing. Now, it is getting late and you have much to do. You should be on your way.
No, we've spent enough time on my personal affairs. It is time for us to move on.
Look at this. It's the hardened sap of a tree native to this forest. It's been something of a lucky charm for me, and now I want you to have it.
Very well. I'm grateful. May your gods smile on you and Erin.
And on you.
Most welcome here, mortal.
You remind me of Lady Cecilia.
Who?
She was an Orlesian lady. My mother served her until she died, and Lady Cecilia let me stay instead of turning me out on the street. You are like her in some ways. You have the same poise, the same air of nobility.
Oh, child, I am hardly noble.
I learned that nobility isn't just something you are born with. I have met nobles who are very petty and mean, complete degenerates. Then, there are people with a certain dignity and grace. It draws you to them, no matter who you are or who they are. I think the lowest peasant can have the most noble spirit, and it will always shine through. It is this nobility of spirit that you share with Cecily.
Why, Thank you, Liliana. It is very kind of you to say that. Thank you so much. Yes, you led me to an errand. You persisted, even though I was sure all you were going to find was a dead end. I will never be able to repay you for what you've done for me. Finding an errand allowed me to bring that chapter of my life to a close. I feel free. A great weight has been lifted off my heart. This moment, it feels like the moment before the sunrise, when all the world is still, holding its breath, waiting for first light. I can stop thinking about my past and look forward to the future. Thank you, my friend. You will always have my gratitude. What's on your mind? I will answer to the best of my ability. The Circle is in good hands. Irving knows what to do, and he doesn't need me underfoot. For now, I will support those that battle the Darkspawn. I do feel I left things unfinished in Ostagar. There is so much left to do, and I would be part of it. The Grey Wardens, all 2 of you, need all the help you can get. I will see this through to the bitter end, and after that, if I am still left standing, then I will return to the Circle. Perhaps.
Look, can we talk for a moment? I need to tell you something. I should probably have told you earlier. I don't know. I doubt it. I've never liked it, that's for sure. I told you before how Al-Eamon raised me, right? That my mother was a serving girl at the castle and he took me in? The reason he did that was because, well, because my father was King Marek, which made Kaelin my half-brother, I suppose. Ha! Yes, I guess it does at that. I should use that line more often. I would have told you, but it never really meant anything to me. I was inconvenient, a possible threat to Kaelin's rule, and so they kept me secret. I'd never talked about it to anyone. Everyone who knew either resented me for it or they coddled me. Even Duncan kept me out of the fighting because of it. I didn't want you to know as long as possible. I'm sorry. Why wouldn't he? He was King Marek's best friend. I don't know if that means anything, though. I certainly never considered the idea that it might ever be important. At any rate, that's it. That's what I had to tell you. I thought you should know about it. Let's hope not. I'm the son of a commoner and a Grey Warden to boot. It was made very clear to me early on that there was no room for me raising any rebellions or such nonsense. And that's fine by me. No, if there's an heir to be found, it's Arl Eamon himself. He's not of royal blood, but he is Kaelin's uncle, and more importantly, very popular with the people. Though, if he's really as sick as we've heard... Oh no, I don't want to think about that. I really don't. So there you have it. Now can we move on? And I'll just pretend you still think I'm some nobody who was too lucky to die with the rest of the Grey Wardens. Oh, lovely. I'm going to regret this. Somehow I just know it.
I thought I saw travelers coming down the road, though I scarcely believed it. Have you come to help us? The Arl? Then you don't know? Has nobody out there heard? We heard news about the king and all the fighting. That was before everything started here. We're under attack. Monsters come out of the castle every night and attack us until dawn. Everyone's been fighting and dying.
Is anyone surprised? Anyone?
We've no army to defend us. No Arl and no king to send us help. So many are dead. And those left are terrified they're next.
Hold on, what is this evil that's attacking you?
I don't rightly know. I'm sorry, nobody does. I should take you to Ban Tegan. He's all that's holding us together. He'll want to see you.
Ban Tegan, Arl Eamon's brother. He's here.
Yes. It's not far, if you'll come with me.
It's Thomas, yes? And who are these people with you? They're obviously not simple travelers.
Oh, good eye.
No, my lord. They just arrived, and I thought you would want to see them.
Well done, Thomas. Greetings, friends. My name is Tegan, Ban of Rainisfere, brother to the Arl.
I remember you, Ban Tegan, though the last time we met, I was a lot younger and covered in mud.
Covered in mud? Alistair? It is you, isn't it? You're alive! This is wonderful news.
Still alive, yes. Though not for long if Ten Loghain has anything to say about it.
Indeed. Loghain would have us believe all Grey Wardens died along with my nephew, amongst other things. What, that he pulled his men in order to save them? That Kaelin risked everything in the name of glory? Hardly. Loghain calls the Grey Wardens traitors, murderers of the king. I don't believe it. It is an act of a desperate man. So you are a Grey Warden as well. A pleasure to meet you. I wish it were under better circumstances. You're here to see my brother. Unfortunately, that might be a problem. Eamon is gravely ill. No one has heard from the castle in days. No guards patrol the walls, and no one has responded to my shouts. The attack started a few nights ago. Evil things surged from the castle. We drove them back, but many perished during the assault. Some call them the Walking Dead, decomposing corpses returning to life with a hunger for human flesh. They hit again the next night. Each night they come, with greater numbers. With Kaelin dead and Loghain starting a war over the throne, no one responds to my urgent calls for help. I have a feeling tonight's assault will be the worst yet. Alistair, I hate to ask, but I desperately need the help of you and your friends.
It isn't just up to me. Though the Grey Wardens don't stand much chance against Loghain without Arl Eamon.
Thank you. Thank you. This means more to me than you can guess. Thomas, please tell Murdoch what transpired. Then return to your post.
Yes, my lord.
Now then, there is much to do before night falls. I put 2 men in charge of the defense outside. Murdoch, the village mayor, is outside the chantry. Sir Perth, one of Eamon's knights, is just up the cliff at the windmill, watching the castle. You may discuss with them the preparations for the coming battle. Very well. Luck be with you, my friend.
Let us pray.
Why haven't
Blessed art thou who exists in the Maker's sight. You are of dwarven blood and a stranger amongst us, yet you defend a home that is not your own. We are grateful for that. Not many in these modern days would honestly say the same. You are a man of worth, and the Maker will smile upon you. Allow me to introduce myself. I am revered Mother Hannah, head of this chantry, which for the moment is a place of refuge for these poor villagers.
Surely this cannot be the entire village. These few are all who are left?
All those who cannot defend themselves, yes. They are terrified of tonight's attack, and I fear these walls will not keep them safe. What can I do to help with your task? It is the sturdiest building in the village. The women, elderly, and children will stay here during the battle, while the militia and knights protect them. They set up a barricade outside the chantry to keep monsters from getting inside. If anything gets in, Ban Tegan is our only defense. Please, have mercy. Help these people. Do whatever you can. May the Maker watch over you, child.
When will they be back? I missed them. I'm scared, Mother. When are the bad men coming?
Soon, I'm so scared, Father. Sorry. Am I bothering you? I'll try to be more quiet. I shouldn't be such a crybaby. With Mother gone now, I have to be brave. I can't help myself. I'm so frightened. Those things dragged my mother away. I don't know what happened to her, but I hear her screaming all the time. Everywhere. And now my brother Bevan, he ran off. I don't know where he is. I'm so scared they got him too. I went to our house. It's by the square. He wasn't there. I searched the rest of the village too. I called and I called, but he never answered. I wonder if he ran off into the woods. I'm so worried. Without me, he has nobody. I understand, I do. I'm just so afraid for him.
Silence, girl. Do you want the children to hear you?
But not...
These people don't deserve what...
You know, we don't have the men we need.
Still no sign of them coming back from the castle, Murdoch.
Tell them to maintain what?
My sword's about to rust out of my hand. How will I defend anything like this?
So you're the Grey Warden, are you? I heard they all died with the king. So you say? A damn Qunari could walk up and say he was a Grey Warden. I wouldn't know the difference. We aren't gonna turn aside anyone who wants to help, though. Don't take me for being an ingrate or nothing.
Well, we do want to help however we can. You can trust us.
Name's Murdoch, mayor of what's left of the village, providing we aren't all killed and hauled off to the castle tonight. I hope you're right. I've been trying to hold us together, but it isn't easy. Anyhow, you're here, and they tell me you're in charge. We need what little armor and weapons we got repaired, and quickly, or half of us will be fighting without either. Owen's the only blacksmith who can do it, but the stubborn fool refuses to even talk. If we're to be ready for tonight, we'll need that crotchety bastard's help. His daughter, Valena, is one of the Alessa's maids, so he hasn't heard from her since this whole business started. He demanded we attack the castle, break down the gate, and force our way in. I said it was impossible, but he wouldn't listen. He's locked himself in the smithy now. I can't force him to do repairs. He said he'd rather die first. We could use some extra bodies. Having a veteran like Dwyn in the militia would help a lot, but he flat out refuses. He's a trader, a dwarf, lives near the lake. Locked himself up in his home with some of his workers, he has. Says he doesn't need any of us. We could use somebody with his fighting experience, but he won't come out. Right. Let's hope we see morning. Have you spoken to Owen? Is he not the most stubborn fool you've ever met? What are you waiting for? You need something from me? Don't drink with him.
I'm unable to do that.
Go away. This isn't your home.
Young man, come out this instant.
Yes, ma'am. Alright, I came out. You won't hurt me. Will you? I'll go back to the Chantry if you really want. I just didn't want to be at the Chantry anymore. Everyone's scared, and I want to be brave. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Done and done.
Wonderful. Intruders. I hope you have a good reason for breaking and entering into my home. You've a high-born look about you. You were expecting some bowing and scraping, maybe. The name's Dwyn. Pleased to meet you. Now, kindly tell me why you're here. So, Murdoch's sending a dwarf to do his begging for him? Hoping I'll get all misty-eyed with thoughts of home? Look, I'll tell you the same thing I told him. I'm not risking my neck for this town. Thanks, but I'll take my chances in here. Everyone else can run around in the open waiting to die. I have to admit, you've a better chance than most. At least another dwarf is likely to have a few rocks to rub together between their ears. What do you have in mind, then? Let's hear it. Are you serious? I won't even stick my head out my door for less than 100 silvers. Fine. Hand over the money and I'll help out. Just don't mention our little deal. You better be out there too when the sun goes down. I'm not fighting for a lost cause, you hear me?
Shale, why do you refer to me as the Elder Mage?
Clearly because it is purple and a hyena.
Then you simply wish to be perverse? Surely you're better than that.
I have found that I'm allowed precious few amusements. Since so many prefer to call me Gollum, I enjoy referring to them in a similar fashion.
Stop fidgeting.
I don't like being out here.
Bevan said you were the one who found him. I can't possibly repay you. The Maker sent you. I just know it. Thank you again.
Go away. Curse you! Leave me in peace! You've already taken everything out of my stores. There's nothing left. Huh? Who is that? What do you want? I've been through enough. All right. Let me undo the locks. All I ask is that you don't make any trouble.
Somebody's been drinking.
So I let you in. You wanted to talk. Now we're talking. Mind telling me who you are? Funny. You didn't sound like a dwarf through the door. Can't say I expected that. Anyhow, my name's Owen, though you might already know that. Care to join me as I get besotted? Or is there something in particular you wanted? My girl, Velena, is one of the Alessa's maids and she's trapped up there in the castle, but the mayor won't send anyone for her. She's been my life since my wife passed on 2 years ago. Now she's dead, or soon to be. I don't care what happens to me or the village, or anyone! I'm an old man. Everyone knows we aren't making it through the night. Or are you going to save us? Is that so? Maybe it's the drink talking, but you almost sound like you believe that. It'd do me the world of good to think maybe someone like you could go in and find her. Provided any of us live through the night. If you look for Velena, I'll reopen the smithy and make some repairs for the militia. I can do that much. Not good enough. Murdoch said the same damn thing, and I didn't believe him either. I want a promise. Promise me that you'll look for her. That you'll bring her back to me if you can.
We will do our best. Please believe us, friend.
I'll accept that. It's something to hope for, at least. Right then. It seems I have some work to do relighting the forge, and I suppose I'll have to find some iron. Maybe at the mill. Oh, Murdoch just better send his men here as soon as possible if I'm gonna get to all these repairs and get them done by nightfall. If you need anything done, well, just let me know. I've got a lot to do now, so you'll have to excuse me. Hey, I see you found my hiding place. I stuck some old equipment in there before. I don't think there's anything you'll need in there, but it's hard to say. I was in a bit of a rush when I filled it up. Not if I'm going to repair the equipment they have. That stuff is old, anyhow. Yeah, let me open it for you. I have the key. must admit. It feels good to be up and doing something finally. There's no way I'm sobering up before morning, however. Right. I haven't got much, obviously, but I'll do whatever I can for you. Well, it looks like Owen's finally doing the repairs we need. The damn fool is falling over drunk and still manages to make smithying look easy. Good enough, I say. I'll inform Bantigan the militia is ready to fight. We'll give those bastards a welcome they won't soon forget. I hope you're right. We may just be village folk, but we're going to fight like there's no tomorrow. Thanks for persuading him to come out here. He's going to be a great help. I just know it. There's not much time before sundown. You'll find him and his men at the mill by the bridge, to the north. I have a good feeling about tonight.
Not looking for company. Elves aren't allowed to travel? I'm not here to talk. Just leave me to drink, all right? I just want to be left alone.
Hello there, friend. Can't say we've ever met before. Stranger to the village, I take it. Haven't had many travelers lately. All this nonsense is bad for business. Bet you regret coming, yes? Brave words, brave words. Well, we'll see when night falls, won't we? So, what'll it be? You are here to drink, I hope. Fine. Make them quick. Why? When them creatures attack, I lock myself in the cellar. Just batten the hatches and wait it out. What's the point in getting myself killed with all the rest of them? If that makes me a coward, then I'm a coward. Well, yes. I suppose that is what I want. Not a lot. Castle guards stopped coming in about a week back. It's unusual, too. They were my main source of business. After a few days, I thought it strange enough to ask. But nobody heard anything. Anyone going up to the castle didn't come back. When the first attack hit, I locked myself in the cellar. I say we just wait for help to come. I'm not abandoning my tavern because of a few monsters. The second I'm in the chantry, Murdoch and his men will be here drinking all my ale. Something else I can get for you? Name's Lloyd. We don't get many dwarves out here. Occasional trader, maybe. You're a smith? I hear old Owen could use a replacement. That's so. Good for him. Guess that means he doesn't need you, doesn't it? Something else I can get for you? Right then.
Then the thing, it leapt right on him, started chewing his face. It started screaming, trying to stop him, and I couldn't help.
Another doomed soul come to drown their sorrows here, I see. If you came here for a drink, you'll have to talk to Lloyd. He's got a vice grip on the spigots. I'm just here to keep the boys from mutiny. Not much. He's very quiet. Says his name's Beric and he's here to meet his brother, but I think he's lying. He's a bit creepy. Later on, yes. Lloyd will lock himself in the cellar, and I'll go to the chantry. Are you fighting tonight? That's good to hear. I didn't know that. What business? Without the castle soldiers, the only customers we have are local, and they're all in the militia with no money to spend. The few with any money are here, but it's not enough to justify working. Lloyd's a greasy pig, and if I didn't need this job so badly, He gropes me and pays me next to nothing. But I suppose it could be worse. Not like I've got many options. No, that'll just make things worse. And that's very sweet, but I'll be fine. I'd like that. And maybe we could talk after the battle tonight. If we're still here, that is. Keep safe.
I said I'm not looking for company. What? How did you know that? Well, that's my name. Why? No reason. I just didn't know how you knew my name, that's all. My what? Oh, yes. He was supposed to meet me here. And then I got stuck here when monsters from the castle attacked. No. Those who tried are dead. And, I have to wait for my brother. Look, I don't know you, and I don't want to. I was just told to... just leave me alone. About what? Just because you're a Grey Warden doesn't mean you can go around threatening people. But I never... Oh, all right, I'll tell you. Just don't hurt me. This is more than I bargained for. Look, they just paid me to watch the castle and send word if anything should change. But they never said anything about monsters. I haven't even been able to report anything since this started. I'm stuck, same as you, I swear. A tall fellow, I forget his name. He, said he was working for Howe. Arl Rendon Howe. Just to report any changes, honest. All I could send word about was the Arl getting sick. After that, monsters started coming from the castle. I don't know anything about these creatures. When the Arl got sick, I got scared that people would think I was involved. But I swear I don't know anything about it. They sent me to watch. Maybe they knew the Arl would get sick. I don't know. Here, this is a letter from them. It has instructions and everything. Keep it. Do whatever you want with it. I just thought I was serving the king and making a bit of coin on the side. You have to believe me. Oh, all right. I'll do it. Thank you for your mercy. I won't forget it.
So tell me something. Do you feel pain when you get hit in combat?
This is when it squeals loudly and spurts blood about. This is when it feels pain.
Maybe. I've seen you take some bad hits. Don't you feel anything?
Anger, rage even, perhaps a little distress. Is this pain?
I'm not sure. I don't think I call it distress, exactly. It's more...
For me, it is more...
That sounds more like a bowel movement. I mean that sharp, stabbing... Like that.
No, nothing like that.
No? Huh. Good to know.
Greetings, Grey Warden. I am as relieved as Ban Tegan is to see you here. I must admit I am unfamiliar with addressing a dwarf of your station. I do not wish to be rude. As you wish, and thank you kindly. I am Sir Perth, until recently in direct service of Arl Eamon of Redcliffe. For now my charge is defending the village from these evil assaults. Would that I had chosen not to seek out the urn of sacred ashes. Perhaps I would have fended off whatever evil befell the castle, or perhaps I would be dead. Ah well, with the Grey Warden aiding our defense, perhaps all is not lost. No one told me of this. Oil, you say? How much exactly? Assuming that would hurt them. Yes, I see what you have in mind. That might be effective, if used carefully. Yes, excellent idea. I'll send some men to collect the oil. We'll use it to slow these creatures down. Have you anything else to ask me in the meantime? We have sufficient armor and weapons, but my knights are too few to stand against the monsters without assistance. Perhaps you could approach Mother Hannah in the Chantry for some holy protection against these evil creatures. Otherwise, I do not know what else you could provide beyond your own talents. We're as prepared for the onslaught as we could possibly be, all things considered. Ask me whatever you wish. You know about as much as I do. I returned a day before the attacks began, having heard strange rumors about the abandoned castle. I was the only knight to survive the first attack. Since then, I found others returning from the Arlessa's quest. Until we get to the source of this evil, though, I do not think it will stop, and I don't believe we will be enough. When the Isle fell sick, we were at a loss. Nothing worked to cure him, and he just kept getting worse. Finally, Arlessa Isolde came up with a plan. The Urn of Sacred Ashes is a legendary artifact said to hold great healing powers. If found, it might save him.
They say the followers of Andraste smuggled her ashes out of Tevinter and hid them in Ferelden. The urn's never been heard of since.
We knights volunteered to seek it out. Few of us have returned. Many are still out there, unaware of what is happening here. We were never certain. He thirsted for water and then grew weaker and weaker. We brought in a mage, but even that did nothing. The Arlessa believed he was cursed and that we needed the power of Andraste herself, or he would surely perish. The Al once employed a scholar, Brother Genetivi. He had proof the urn was in Ferelden, or so I was told. Eventually, perhaps. The ones I have here were those near enough to recall within the last few days. I only returned myself because I was passing by Redcliffe and heard the news of strange attacks. Not at all. A great number of soldiers remained in Castle Redcliffe. I wonder if they perished there and were transformed into these things. The thought chills my blood. As you wish. There is still time before the sun goes down. If you have not yet spoken to Murdoch, or if there is anything you have planned... Good luck to you then, and may the Maker watch over us all.